Hey everybody, how you doing out there? And this is Mr. Bookman, and today I'm going to be reading Winter's Child by Angela McAllister, illustrated by Grahame Bakersmith. Please enjoy. Winter's Child. It was the longest winter Nia could remember. Each morning she brushed the snow from her window box, waiting for a teeny green shoot, a sign of spring. But Tom loved the winter. All day he skated on the lake and went sledding in the hill. At night, he dried his wet gloves and boots by the fire. I wish winter could go on forever, he said with a sigh. Tom's mother was pleased to see him happy, but she was worried about Nia. It's been too cold, too long for an old woman, who muttered one morning as she tied Tom's scarf. Nia needs the spring sun. Tom fletches his skis and sets off across the winter meadows. He looped, swooped, making sprays, sparkles in the crisp, cold air. Out of the snow stepped a pale boy with ice blue eyes. Tom stopped and smiled. "Do you want to play?" asked the boy. "Yes," said Tom. They found a secret valley deep in the drifted snow. Tom and the boy made polar bears and Arctic hares, dazzling white horses. "I want winter to go on forever," cried the boy. They played all day until Tom heard his mother calling him home. "I have to go," he said sadly. "Goodbye," said the boy. "Let's play tomorrow." That night, as Tom gazed out at the starry winter wonderland world, he heard a voice call from the mountains, but he didn't see the pale figure sitting beneath his window. Outside, the boy put his hands over his ears and curled up tight. The next day, there were only 4 logs left in the woodshed. "What will we do?" Tom's mother asked. "If the spring sun doesn't come soon, how will we keep Nia warm?" Tom went out and chopped up his wood skis for firewood. "I'm too old for these now," he told Nia. Then Tom went out to play. The boy was waiting. He took Tom to a forest where glistening icicles hung like chimes. "Look, we can make winter music," he said. Together they filled the snow hushed air with twinkling notes. Animals and birds crept out of the forest to listen. "Do you hear a voice calling?" asked Tom. But the boy shook his head. The next day, there was no more firewood. Tom chopped up the ladder to his tree house. I'm big enough to climb up the tree myself now, he told Nia. Tom's mother took the last vegetables from the store cupboard to make hot soup for Nia. If only this long winter could end, she said. How can I plant seeds in the frozen earth? Tom went out to play. Once more, the boy was waiting. The snow was crisscross with hoof prints. Tom and the boy followed the tracks until they found a reindeer slug. The boy climbed gently into the reindeer's back and pulled Tom up behind him. With a short of frosty breath, the reindeer galloped off and carried them to a ravine of frozen waterfalls. Tom and the boy played in and out of the waterfalls all day until it was time to ride home. Where do you live? Tom asked the boy as they neared his house. Everywhere, and now here, said the boy, laughing, and then he was gone. That night there was nothing to burn in the fire. Tom made his wet gloves and boots by the cold wreath. Then he gave Nia all the blankets. In the morning there was nothing for breakfast because there was no fire to bake bread. Nia is thin as reed and gray as ash, whispered Tom's mother. Tom went out to play in his wet boots and gloves. The boy was waiting. Let's play, he said. Tom made the pile of snowballs, but the heart was heavy. What's wrong? Asked the boy. Tom told him about his Nia. The winter has been too long for her, he said. She needs the warm spring sun. The boy looked sad. He gazed at a shadow slipping among the trees. I thought you wanted winter to last forever. But Tom shook his head. His feet were frozen in his wet boots, and he had no supper to go home to. See you tomorrow, he said. That evening, a pale face peered in through the cottage window, but nobody noticed. The boy turned away. Inside, Nia beckoned Tom close. Fetch the window box to bum, he said. I'll never see a green shoot glow there. Tom looked sadly at the empty window box. To his surprise, he noticed fresh snow prints in the snow beneath. Tom ran out into the moonlight. The boy was walking away over the fields. Wait, called Tom. Where are you going? It's time I went home, said the boy. It's my faith that winter has been so long? Tom was puzzled. I don't understand. I am winter's child, said the boy. Spring cannot wake until winter, and his child are asleep. Tom stared at his friend in wonder. I stayed away from my father's because I wasn't ready to sleep, explained the boy. I wanted winter to last forever, but I have played so long. Tom looked around at the white, moonlit world. Winter is wonderful, he said. So is having a friend, said the boy. Starlight sparkled in his ice blue eyes. I saw what you gave your Nia, and now I can give you something. I could give you spring. How will you get home? Asked Tom. The boy smiled. My father will fetch me if I call. Will you come back next year with the first snowflake? Promised the boy. Tom walked home. He watched from his window as Winter's child called for his father. Suddenly a fierce wind shook the trees. There was a thunder of hooves. Out of the frozen air swirled a blizzard of snow, and Winter came, riding a sleigh of ice. Then the boy was gone. The next morning, Tom woke to the sounds of dripping water. The sun was shining. The world had already begun to thaw. A teeny green shoot passed through the earth in Nia's window box. Tom looked at the white-caped mountain. Sleep well, Winter's child, he said. I'll be waiting when the snow returns. We'll play together again. Well, wasn't that a cute story? Tom made a friend, but Tom kind of wished too hard. I know he enjoyed winter, but you can't have winter all the time. Gotta have spring. You enjoy the sun. But wasn't that an enjoyable story? If you enjoyed this, can you give it a big thumbs up and share it? And if you're new and came along this story reading, hit that red subscribe button down below and subscribe to my channel. And check out my other readings I got. I got plenty. So feel free to check them out, will ya? I would love it if you could do that for me. And I want to say hello to some new subscribers. Welcome aboard. Feel free to check out my book readings. Well, until next time, everybody, you all take it easy out there and have a good one. And this is Mr. Bookman, and this story book reading time is over. Have a good one, everybody, and take care.